What's up, Edorb?
So
Hey, what's tomorrow?
my birthday.
Your birthday's tomorrow?
Yep.
Oh boy. We had Brody Days this weekend, which is something we've established the last few years with the one and only Sobe and Steph, where we go fishing, we have some fun. Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
He caught a whole bunch of fish. I watched him catch a bunch of fish. If you go on MJO social media, you'll see Brody catching a fish. I captured you live in the wild from our boat catching a bass. Is that pretty fun?
Yeah.
So this last week we caught fish all kinds of ways. There were some inconsistencies, I'll tell you what. We had some pretty unstable weather move through, some large hail. You guys saw last week the video we put out, we were in the middle of a pouring rain hailstorm. Well, this week we got some more hail, some strong winds. Depending on where you were across the expansive metro area, let's call it 60 to 90 mile stretch, some places got hit really hard, some places got missed. There were some inconsistencies. I hit the water a bunch this week. We chased down a random amount of fish. I guided in the Chisago chain on Minnetonka. We went down south and chased fish. Man, I'll tell you what, if you asked me to pinpoint one specific pattern that worked, I don't know if I could across all the spectrums of what I did this week. I can tell you there are some things that I have some more faith in, some confidence in, and that has to do with some offshore fishing, using Ned rigs, jig worms, drop shots. We're going to talk about drop shots, aren't we?
Yeah.
He slayed on the drop shot. So that has been probably the confidence baits this week, meaning I'm probably fishing a spinning rod. I did catch a bunch of fish on a swim bait. I'm throwing, all-terrain smasher heads, my favorite paddle tail swim baits, and I'm chucking them, and I'm just slowly grinding them across the bottom. I caught a few fish on a chicken jig. I caught some nice fish flipping. I was flipping 3/4 to 1 ounce tungsten weights, 4 or 5 power hooks. I'm putting on my favorite flipping bait, whether it's a Mr. Twister flipping out, whether it's a juice craw tube, whatever it might be. I caught a bunch of fish that way. We caught some fish on frogs, caught some fish on crankbaits. We caught some fish on DT10s, caught some fish doing that. But I'm gonna let Brody walk through some ways we caught our fish the last couple days, and this would probably be the most foolproof way to get bit right now, if you're asking me, are gonna be really these two ways of fishing. Which one do you want to start with?
Probably the drop shot.
The drop shot? And you caught him on that good yesterday. And I know for a fact, because I sat there and watched you catch him right in front of me. So you want to explain the drop shot for these guys and gals watching?
Yeah, I'm using a purple and whitish drop shot. I don't remember the name. And then I have about a foot of line. And I just chuck it out there and then slowly jig it under the bottom. And then, yeah.
Should I hold it up? I'll hold it up here. You hold the rod. I'll show them what we're talking about. So this is a drop shot. We've talked about it before. You got your offering, your hook. You have your drop shot, hence the name, drop of line. We got a tungsten 1/4 ounce weight. We did fish a little heavier, which I like. I think the biggest thing anglers don't do with the drop shot is probably what? Let it go to the bottom. So you're usually not using enough weight. Is usually what it comes down to is that this weight's not going to the bottom of the lake, not keeping contact with the bottom. You want this weight on the bottom, and then when Brody shakes that rod tip, this worm's gonna dance a foot off the bottom. And when the bass comes and picks it up, a lot of times it's an absence of weight for them. They pick it up, they keep running with it. You feel a little more than a weed, a little more than a little bluegill tug, because the panfish bite this.
Yeah.
You get that rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Those are the bluegills with the crappies. You usually can kind of just pull it through them. But when a bass bites us, a lot of time when you go to pull, they move with it. And once you catch one or two, you get the hang of it, don't you?
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be 10 tomorrow, and you're the master of the drop shot. So you enjoy doing this?
Yeah.
So there's your drop shot. He's fishing a robo worm on the end of this. There's all kinds of variations of drop shot hooks. They all work pretty well. I don't know if I have a distinct favorite. I use a lot of the spin shots from VMC. This is going to be more of your drop shot Nico hook. We got this tied right in line with this setup, so this is not going to spin. They both work just fine. And you'll see Brody's got a fluorocarbon leader on here, about a 4-foot leader, going to his braided line to his main rod. And on that rod and reel setup, you got the Sam Sobey Special from Dobbins.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a 15-pound braided main line. He's got an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. He's got a 2000 2500 series reel. And away you go. Can you cast a drop shot?
Yeah.
You don't just have to drop it?
You could.
But you can cast it, right? So that's something a lot of anglers don't think about is you can pitch, you can cast a drop shot. I wrote an article that you can find on my website, mattjohnsonoutdoors.com, on pitching drop shots. You can pitch a drop shot, you can work it back to the boat. If you watched us fish yesterday, which was a very productive technique, what did we do? We threw that bait out there and we just kind of slowly drug it and hopped it nice and slow across the bottom. This bait's going to be on the bottom and that's going to dance 7, 8, 10 inches off the bottom like this as he pulls it, and that bass can come and just pick it right up. Is it that easy?
Yeah.
Or are you that good? Okay. All right, so drop shot. That was the first technique, which is getting bit. Let's talk about the next one, buddy. What do you got over there?
I got a drop shot.
Nope, that's a Ned rig.
A Ned rig.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, Brody just cannot set the drop shot down. So you got a Ned rig. Explain to everybody how the Ned rig works.
You could do the same thing, but usually you want to move it like a little more slower, like bounce it across the bottom a little bit.
That's stuck in there. Let me see. I'm gonna get that popped out. It's stuck in that hook keeper. So this is the Ned rig. Got it, bud?
Yep.
And what's the difference between that and a drop shot?
Drop shot's got a weight and it's more heavier.
Yep. So the Ned rig here is a jig. We've talked about Ned rigs before, right? We've talked about the Ned ringer. So the Ned rig is going to have your jig head and a small little plastic tail. And this is going to plummet to the bottom, right? So this is what's going to hit the bottom, not your weight. That's going to plummet to the bottom. This is basically a finesse jig worm. Did you catch some fish on the Ned rig?
Yeah, I caught like 5 crappies on it.
5 crappies. So when you get a bite on the Ned rig versus the drop shot, what's the biggest difference, do you think? Do you feel something different? Does it fish differently?
Yeah, it's a little more lighter, so it's kind of easier to pick up.
Yeah, Ned rig's an easy way to catch fish. And this can be fished on the rocks, on weed lines, and sparse weeds, on sand. Ned rig's a very versatile system. And you're fishing kind of the same setup. You got your 15-pound braid, you got your 8-pound fluorocarbon leader, tying your favorite Ned head. You're using, what is this? This is the new Crush City plastic from Rapala.
Yeah, it hasn't even came out yet.
He says it hasn't even come out yet. So Sobey gave you a special bait. That's why they caught more fish than us. So Ned rig, easy way to catch them, or a jig worm variation. So with the drop shot, the Ned rig, this has got to be the easiest way to catch fish. And Brody got a brand new setup. He's got a Daiwa cage reel on that bad boy. You got a Tatula rod, it looks like. That's his birthday present. Did you catch him on that yesterday?
Yeah.
Of course you did. So you got the drop shot, you got the Ned rig, pretty easy 1-2 offshore punch, anything from 6 feet to 25 feet of water, easy to fish, don't need a lot of skill level. A lot of my clients are fishing it this way, and you can catch some big fish. Our bigger fish came on this in the last few days as well, so that's been kind of the 1-2 punch. Again, but flipping, casting crankbaits, did some chatterbait fishing. I'll be honest, this is probably the first week in months I have not done well on chatterbait. Could be dumb luck. I did get some fish flipping. I plan to do some more flipping. Tomorrow is not only your birthday, it's the Blackfish Classic on Lake Minnetonka. I'm super excited for that. I get to MC it. 100 boats are trying to win $15,000 on Lake Minnetonka. You have to tune into the Blackfish Gear social media page. We'll be live on Facebook starting at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow during takeoff, and then we'll be live again at 2:30 p.m. as the teams start to weigh in. So you can win $15,000. What'd you do with $15,000?
Buy a boat.
Buy a boat. And if you happen to be in a Vexis, the Rev Rewards through Vexis, if you happen to be in a Vexis boat and you own that boat and you win tomorrow, they're giving you an extra $10,000. So if the winner tomorrow is in a Vexis boat, they could take home $25,000. Wow. There we have it. So water temps are jumping back into the 80s. I'm expecting a pretty consistent week. We'll be all over the place chasing down some fish again. I plan to probably use some of these similar tactics. I'll probably try to throw a frog a little bit. I still want to play around with the crankbait. I feel good about it. I think that'll get a big bite. Otherwise, it's going to be good old trusty Ned rigs, good old trusty drop shots, spinning rods in hands. And what do? Just go fishing, right?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, there we have it. Another week. Another week is come and gone. The next time you see this stud, he's going to be tanned. All right, man. We'll catch you guys next time. Anything you got to say on the way out, Brody?
Mm-hmm.
No. See you. Bye.